Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the BSK Insights podcast. I'm Tim Rodriguez, the COO of the Geoprofessional Division at BSK Associates. And today I have a esteemed guest. Renee, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Renee Rangel, and I have been with BSK Associates for 17 years now, coming up here in February this next month. So time has really flown by. I started out with BSK as a project manager in the analytical division, and over the years have become really passionate about the company and what we do, and as not intentionally, but worked my way through the company and really putting myself out there to see what I could do to help at all levels. And this is where it got me. So happy and proud to be a CEO of a phenomenal company, and I'm 4 years in now to the role.
Yeah, that's it's been a little bit of a journey. So I'm certainly thankful and appreciative of the opportunity to get to work with you. I've known you for a while now, so we joke about growing up in the business. But wanted to have a moment here to talk about the new year. We just passed over into 2026, wrapped up 2025. We're still looking to close the books on that, but getting your perspective on where we're headed in 2026 and really what your where are you at with regard to BSK's future at this point?
So I think we've kind of passed a threshold, and it took longer than I think I really wanted it to when I stepped into the seat. We took on quite a bit in the first few years, and we created a lot of change, and I feel like we're finally getting to the point now where we're getting to do all the things we wanted to do in year one, honestly. And we've created so much momentum just within the last couple of years that there's this level of excitement and good pressure, rather than kind of the things of like, oh, we have so many problems that we need to address and fix and restructure. And I'm trying to think of the issues that we had when we first started. And I say we because it definitely took a team to get us to where we're at today. That we overcame a lot of challenges, and I think we took on a lot right off the bat, because once again, we completely restructured. We were just coming out of COVID. We were building a new building, and we moved essentially half the company to a new location, two branches, our corporate office and Fresno Geoengineers and our Fresno Analytical. They all moved to new locations. That had build outs and a new building, and it was a tremendous amount of pressure and struggle, and but I think we came out of it so much stronger that in a way it's kind of a good thing. You hate to look at times of struggle or poor performance, but we took on a lot and we made it through, so I think we're stronger for that. And I think also, like I said, all the things that we were wanting to do probably 4 years ago, we're in a much better position to take on now than we've ever been before as a company. So the momentum going into 2026 is tremendous.
Yeah, a lot of hurdles, especially in the early days of the current executive team. So with that, what are the kind of you mentioned a lot of instances or challenges that were overcome, but there's a fundamental difference in how the company functions now, and some of the you mentioned taking a team. So what's really the biggest difference in your mind between when you stepped into this role 4 years ago and where we're at today?
So I think the level of trust that things are going to happen and they're going to get done, maybe not always as fast or as quickly as people want, but that level of accountability, that bar has been raised, and an expectation of performance. That we're actually confident that when we set a goal and it's hard or it's tough, that we can actually do it, could get close to it even, but certainly can even surpass it. And I don't think we've ever had that level of confidence before as an organization.
Yeah. There's definitely, I know sitting in my seat what that means to me, and I can see the difference for sure. But I think what you're expressing is something that is felt throughout the organization, down to any level of the hierarchy, and that's something I think that's we should be proud of. And so I'm glad you mentioned that. talking about kind of where we were last year, maybe, and kind of what set us up for some things this year. So what are some of the, efforts that were made that you think were really focused and targeted recently that are going to contribute to a positive result in 2026?
So I think just what we're doing right here, right now, I would say probably since I've started with BSK 17 years ago, talking about sales and marketing and business development has always been on the table. And I feel like we're really in a position now to run with that. So even just having the ability to have a podcast, getting BSK's name out there, we have a marketing, director and a team, and you put a lot of effort into seller doer training and some of that business development process and things together, so we can really go out and look for that growth that we've talked about for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of I think I'll just call it proactive mentality shift, I think, in all of those areas. Mm-hmm. I would actually say that's kind of built upon a foundation that's already existed in operational areas in the company where, there's a lot of great effort that goes into different, things we work on, whether it be financial reporting and accountability improvements. I mean, we've made huge strides in trying to make things more transparent for the organization and understandable for everybody. And then, just compliance, even related items that, we use that as the foundation to build upon. And kind of like you said, I can see how this has been a progressive effort to get us to where we're at and actually able to see things that we would have been dreaming about and kind of ran into the hurdle of it being like, how are we going to really accomplish this? Is this going to be achievable? And I know we've talked about this, but maybe share your thoughts on, how time plays a factor in all of this. And you start an initiation or you initiate a process or an effort, and while you want to reach it, kind of turnkey and just real quick make something happen, some of this takes time to develop and allow it, that piece of it to sort of grow in people.
So I think it's twofold. So there's the, we want to do this and go in this direction, and but we have to give people tools. So just saying you want that and everybody agreeing that that's what they want is kind of half the battle to a certain extent, but then it's the part that nobody likes to do, right? So it's the structure, it's the process, it's the training, giving everybody the tools that they need to actually be successful in what you're actually wanting to do and where you're heading. And then the other piece is the cultural piece, because we're talking about change management. And so we're asking people to do things differently or something additional to what they actually normally do day in and day out. And so there's this huge cultural piece of people actually having that, not just buy-in, but ownership into the process and allowing people to empower each other and to run with things. Because we have, our workday is incredibly dynamic. So we have very busy days and we have slower days, and not everybody's on the same page. Not everybody has a slow day together. Mm-hmm. And so the collaboration piece can be incredibly difficult in this organization, because everybody's on these different work cycles and pressures and issues, and a lot of good things that are going on too. So trying to keep focus on some of these very specific things when we just have an incredibly dynamic company. Yeah. And client base and the type of work we do, to be moving towards these things continually, it just takes a lot of grit. I think at the end of the day that you just have to stick with it. We're very cautious about beating people up over some of this change management. Like I said, a lot of people wanted things done very quickly, and it would have hurt our culture in the long run. Mm-hmm. I needed them to come along. I was happy to lead, step out ahead as much as possible. That's my job, but I don't want to drag people. Yeah. You can do that for so long, but then it's not a healthy way to lead a company.
Yeah. I think, while you're describing all of that, and of course my mind wanders to the real life experience of what this has somewhat been like, at least from my perspective. But I think what you described a lot was just kind of it goes back to something you said earlier, which is teamwork. And I think, you know, there's a lot that comes from driving a culture that's built around the team, and the like you said, confidence in the people around you. And I know we're still working through portions of that. Like, it's not perfect, and this is where we always joke that there's, while you feel measurable levels of success, you still never feel like you've reached some sort of peak, and there's always a further goal and down the road, right? Something else you're working towards. But, you know, having that team of people that is willing and wants to work together, they want to have they've somehow found a common goal or direction. You're pulling in generally the same way, and finding ways to actually work together to see it through to an end. Because that's what you're talking about. I mean, yes, it's grit on an individual level, but what makes you really want to fight for any of that and go through the hard times or the trouble, you know, on a day-to-day basis when you're busy, and decide that, hey, this is a priority, I'm actually going to see it through. I think a lot of that does come down to knowing that you're working as part of a team, and you believe in each other, and, you know, kind of want to work together in that way. So
and I think the struggle piece of, you know, what we did go through really helped to solidify, like, yes, this is my team. Like, these are the people that are gonna really come to the table when you need them to. And that's throughout the company. I mean, because everybody at all levels of the company, even just day in, day out, not even through this whole transition to coming into 2026, you have people that just really step up and go above and beyond and do things for the team. And you're like, yeah, these are the people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know this is so maybe you can share your thoughts on this. And I know we've had some minor conversations. I shouldn't even say minor. There's probably been major conversations about it. But, you know, the idea that this is the history of the company, and somewhat, you know, the experiences we brought along, and you try to move beyond, like, that's what we're trying to, you know, improve the situation. And so now we've got folks that have only been here for a short time, maybe in the last few years, and, you know, they're growing into the business themselves, but they don't have that history. And so does it make you proud to think in what their experience has been here versus, you know, maybe some of the baggage that might have come along for folks who've been around a little bit longer?
So yes, I have two joys, and it's nothing against anybody in the middle, but definitely new employees that are just like, wow, like, I'm so happy I came to work here. This is, comparatively speaking, from other companies I've been with and have worked with, this is amazing. It's been an amazing experience, and I'm really excited to be here. Music to my ears all day long. But also people who have been here 30 years longer that are like, it's so much better now. You know what I mean? And once again, nothing against prior leadership or just where the company was. It's just, we're a different company now. It's nothing against, you know, what has happened before. And like I said, what's happened before, and all the leadership and everybody that's worked at BSK before has helped to mold us into who we are today.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it's interesting to reflect on all of that, and where folks now, the messaging they see, and how positive they are. And like you said, I think the people who even return, you know, maybe leave and check something else out, and can return to find out that it's as good a place to work as they've experienced or can imagine now. That's actually a really good thing. I actually encourage people to go. Not that I want to see them leave, but I mean, you know, when they've made a decision and they need to explore something for themselves, that's personal development as much as it is anything else. So I think you have to find your own path in all of that.
And there's other companies out there that are doing wonderful things as well. And so sometimes it's nice when they come back and they're just like, you know, that it wasn't for me, but they did X, Y, and Z, and it was really awesome. And it's like, absolutely, that's fantastic. Like, I love hearing things that we can to improve upon. So as much as we're talking about like how wonderful everything is right now, you know, in these seats, in these leadership roles, we do get a lot of criticism. It's a tough spot to be sitting in because I don't think they understand that we're so much more critical of ourselves than they could ever come up with. Because we're bar raisers, right? Like, this is not good enough. So we're always pushing, I think, ahead and improving. And so there is no status quo at BSK anymore.
Yeah.
right? So we're going to always be trying to elevate what we do. We have employees, and it's like that at any company. There's still problems. There's still things we need to work towards. And we're trying to move from this, yes, we're a family. And I think that's what kind of drives some of this grit and determination and everybody looking out for each other, and moving to this teamwork model more so of we're a team. And what that effort is that, we don't tolerate some of the things that we used to, that you do with family members. Mm-hmm. You tolerate a lot.
Right.
And now we're raising the bar and expectations of, yes, I will help you out all day long. You're part of the team. But I'm helping you through it to get to where you need to be. Yeah. And if you're choosing not to do that, then that's where you start getting a little tougher, because we're a pretty nice company. Mm-hmm. I would say, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
We really want to develop our staff and give them places to move to and advance the company forward and grow.
Yeah. And that's really addressing, some things that we've known or have received feedback on too, as far mm-hmm. as like recognizing that there's a little bit, there's a point of having too much latitude or tolerance of, underperformance one way or another, or just, somebody who's not pulling in the same direction quite as much as a replacement or somebody else might. And so that's, part of the effort is actually, I think, to reinforce those folks that you do need to build around, and mm-hmm. are really the people that are, for lack of a better term, they're screaming for help. That's make my life a little better by giving me the tools or support that I need to make the team better.
And that's what I'm excited about, like our current leadership team, is that, there is that feeling of like, well, I had to go through all this struggle, and that's why I am the way I am now. And that's why I'm successful sometimes, is because I had to go through all of this. And certainly leadership a lot of time is born and developed out of really tough situations and hard scenarios. But my job is to not pave the way to make it super easy that there's no growth. Mm-hmm. My job is to pave the way so they're not having to deal with all the noise, so our staff can focus on the growth. Mm-hmm. And it's a healthier way.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be struggle, and hard doesn't have to be bad either.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a project to push you. That's going to be hard, but I'm here to support you through it.
Yeah. Yeah, that gets to another, that's where you start looking proactively into the future, into the mm-hmm. fights and the things that you need to actually be struggling through to achieve the goals of yourself and the company. And there's a lot of them. I mean, we try to recognize as many goals as we can. And of course, there's company-wide goals, and then there's all the individual growth and professional development type things mm-hmm. that we try to make sure we make available too. So kind of go back to something we mentioned a few minutes ago, which is sort of change management. And yeah, that's been a big topic and focus, and something that we've worked through. One of the comments inside company surveys historically was that we maybe weren't as nimble or quick to adopt change as we might have wanted to be. And what are your views on where we've come in that area?
So my philosophy has definitely, I would say, been upgraded. So how we can be more nimble, and it's difficult for BSK because we're a very technical company. So things tend to be very, black and white. It's rule-based, it's law-based, it's method-based, right? Everything we do has really nice bumpers and borders around it. And when we're changing things, everybody wants the new policy or the new way to be perfect. And it takes forever to get to perfect, because you can't come up with every single scenario and situation, and no matter how many people you bring into the table to talk about this new change or whatever you're going to do, it's impossible to come up with everything. So my goal is to get us, I always say, like, mostly there, right? Mm. And so we're moving in the direction, and we're able to start taking those steps, and then as things come up, then we'll address them, right? And we'll work that into the plan or but if we just sit and wait until it's perfect, we're going to be sitting forever.
Yeah.
nothing's going to move. So we've got to take a few steps. We've got to start going in that direction, and then we can add and change as we go.
Sure. But that also plays into what you said to begin with, I think, which is confidence that there is change going to be happen, that you're not just resting on laurels or somebody else to see it through, that this is something that collectively the whole wants to see move in that direction. And like you said, it's progressive. This isn't going to reach probably ever any point of conclusion for all of that. Okay, so kind of coming toward the end of this, what if you had 1, 2, 3, however many you want to focus on, things that you're most excited about this year, what are those for you?
Well, for me, obviously it's amazing to see like an employee-owned company having success and seeing increases in your share price, and these are things that get people excited, and it does drive that confidence. And so really moving into this growth model that we've always wanted to do, and we've talked about it in the 17 years that I've been here, that we've really put pieces in place to start driving it and actually seeing that come to fruition and reality is going to be really exciting this year, because it really is the year of like, okay, is the proof in the pudding type of a thing, because we've had consistent success and good performance, and we keep adding these little elements, and I feel like this is a big element for us this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't want to take any more of your day up, and I want to leave a little bit on the table for potential future follow-up conversations. So we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. But before we do, I wanted to give you a chance to just, have the microphone, say whatever you would like to say to the public and our company, if you've got anything on your mind.
Yeah, I would say something, to the public is, once again, kind of focusing on our marketing efforts and creating awareness, and even driving within our industries, what we do and the importance of what we do, and what that value is to our communities, because we are very much a behind the scenes industry. What we do on both sides of our geoprofessional division and even our analytical division, we're creating data for people to make decisions, or people to build things, or the safety aspect of things that we take for granted in our day-to-day lives in our communities. And we have this huge role to play. And I don't think we shout it from the rooftop nearly enough. We're a very humble industry on both industries. Right. And we're very comfortable being behind the scenes. And so I think this push to get BSK out there and us out there, and us to have a voice in our industry, I think is incredibly important, to get that out in our communities. And I want to encourage, other players in our field to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Kind of take up some space. Like we deserve it.
Sure.
Certainly, it's incredibly important. And then, of course, to our staff. I mean, everybody's just, like I said, everybody's working hard, and it's hard because you're like, it's not that it's not good enough. I want to push us to just keep raising the bar, to expect more from themselves, I think is key.
Yeah. Great message both ways. So
thanks.
I very much appreciate you taking the time here. So thank you. And hopefully this is the kickoff and the start of a great year. So appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thanks, Renee.